baseball mainly played in the United States and in some other countries as well. Though there are some differences between baseball and softball, former being thrown by lower hand, whereas it is just the opposite in the later. Softball is thrown by upper hand. Even the dimensions of softball court are lower than that of baseball court. The first game of softball was played in the year 1889 between Yale and Harvard at alumni to hear the final scores of their football game in Chicago. Thereafter, George Hancock was credited as the inventor of this game, softball. It was then in the year 1889 when the set of rules for this game was published. Softball was named by Walter Huntington in the year 1926. Thereafter, the Point Rules Committee of Softball was established in 1934 to standardize the rules and naming of the game throughout of the United States. Where in winters, it was credited to be one of the indoor games so that it is convenient for the players to practice throughout the season. In 1972, softball was introduced in the United Kingdom by a movie, A Touch of Glass, filmed in London. Thereafter, in 1983, the first women's softball league was established, giving a chance to the upcoming women players to prove themselves in the field of softball. The women's fast-pitch softball selected in 1991 to play in Summer Olympics in 1996 for the first time. This was the first time in the history of softball that there was an introduction of softball technology, which was funded by IOC, giving away the landmark for the biochemical study on the pitch during the softball games. Unfortunately, in the year 2002, this 16 inches wall was dropped out of the ISF official rules. Although it is still very much played in the United States under ASA, or the Amateur Softball Association America. Despite of the fact that in 2005, baseball and softball both were written off from Olympics, still the pace of these sports can be very well seen in the United States. Efforts are being put up in order to bring back the pride of both games in Olympics. Lesson 1, the history and development of softball. The birth of softball took place on the cold, windy November day in 1887. Some Yale and Harvard alumni had gathered at the Farragut Boat Club, anxiously awaiting the results of the Harvard Yale football game. Once the score was revealed, Yale defeating Harvard 18-8. A Yale alum picked up an old boxing glove and threw it across the room in celebration. A nearby Harvard supporter who was standing nearby tried to hit it back with a stick. George Hancock, a reporter for the Chicago Board of Trade, witnessed the event and had an epiphany. He thought, why not play an indoor version of baseball with a glove and stick? He organized the alums for both schools and the Farragut Boat Club's nationally, drew a home plate on the floor with some chalk, and the two teams played what is considered to be the first softball game in history.
The new sport, found by Hancock and the gang of Farragut, did not stop with just one game. Members of Farragut Boat Club Gymnasium started teaching and challenging other teams nearby the gym. When the weather got warmer, they took a spot outdoors and played it on smaller sized baseball fields. And around the city, Hancock common in other cities. Louis Rubber, Minneapolis Fire Department lieutenant, heard about the game and thought it would be a great way to keep nearby lost as their field. Instead, a modified boxing dog, Rubber introduced a small-sized machine and ball as softball, and actual bat instead of stock and used to batting. The game became popular among fire fighters and fighters that other fire departments began playing their own version. So in 1895, Rubber now transferred to different firehouse, organized team called the Kittens, the lead of the game being nicknamed Kitten Ball among the fire department. Players that other name of force sport also force swing, including mash ball, pumpkin ball, and diamond ball. It was not until 1926 that Denver official Walter Hackanson suggested that sport be called softball. In 1934, the name became official and the Amateur Softball Association was created. Organized Leo Fisher, the Michael Pauli convinced that idea of bringing together thousands of softball teams and league across America into an official national league. They brought 55 teams together and to the 1933 World Fair in Chicago for how tournament back the Chicago American newspaper. There were their division, fast bowler, slow pitch, and women's division. An estimated 70,000 people watched the first round of play. At the tournament, the team now outplaying the identical rules and regulations turned under restricted cities, and softball became an official organized sport in the United States. In 1991, softball was accepted as an Olympic sport, and 1996 United States won the first gold medal in the new international.
Programs in high school and college across the world and favorite. Zumba also become a major part of athletics programs in high school and colleges across the world and a favorite pastime of in-class playing in a field or a gymnasium with friends. Today, the game is generally played in areas that baseball is also popular, especially in North America, Australia, and the Far East countries of Japan, China, and the Philippines. The International Softball Federation has 113 member countries. Softball is the most popular participant sport in the United States, with the estimate for 40 million Americans playing the game at least once a year. Most playing the slow pitch variety is a play by both genders, socially as well as competitively. The International Softball Federation is the international governing body for the sports of softball. The ISF is a non-profit corporation recognized by the International Olympic Committee and sports about thoroughly the General Association of International Sport Federations. The ISF organize and conduct world championship competition in women's women and men's fast pitch, junior women's and junior men's fast pitch, 19 in Canada. Women's, men's and quite slow pitch, and women's and men's modified pitch. The ISF sanctioned regional championship and provides technical support by regional multi-sports games. Additionally, the ISF for the Olympic softball competition in coordination with the IOC. The ISF provides the official playing rules for international competitions, including but not limited to Olympic Games, World Championship, Regional Championship, Regional Games, and other sanctioned competitions. SFL, the governing body of the softball in the Philippines, they are the one who implementing and organizing the softball game during the higher competition in the country.
Go!
Batter is 4 balls. The batter is awarded
Grabe,
the first
uuwi na sila.
base. Which process the strike zone to strike, and the batter who reaches 3 strike is out. Strike out. And the next batter in the order comes to bat. A strike is also recorded on any pitch that the batter wins, and the match is not resolved in a strikeout dependent upon what the position and local play. However, bunting is a foul ball doesn't result in a strikeout. In some associations and leagues, bunting is not allowed and result in an output. Ay, output pala!
Go!
Result in an out. The batter attempts to swing the bat and hit the ball here into the field of play. After a successful and the batter becomes a base runner or runner, it must run to first base. The defense attempts to field the ball and win it through and ball really between players, so one player can field the ball while the opposition to put out the runner. The defense can tag the runner by touching the runner with the ball while the runner is not on the base. The defense can also touch the first base while in position of the ball in case it is sufficient to get the batter to first base, and an actual tag of the batter is unnecessary. A runner is saved to a 2 out when the play involves 2 or more defensive players. Runners generally can fall out when touching a base, but only one runner, meaning occupy a base on any time, and runners may not pass each other. When a ball is batted into play, runners generally must attempt first base, must run to second base. If the batter puts the ball in play in such a situation, the defense can throw to the base that the lead runner is attempting to take a force out, and the defense can then also throw to the previous base. This can result in a multiple out play. A double play is 2 outs, while a triple play, a very rare occurrence, is 3 outs. Runners with an open house behind them are not forced to advance and do so at their own rest. The defense must tag such runner directly to pat them out rather than tagging the base. A ball which is hit in the air and caught before hitting the ground is an immediate out, regardless of whether the ball would have a landed fair or foul. A fly ball is a ball hit high and deep. A pop fly is a ball hit high but short. And a line drive is a ball hit close to the horizontal. In any such situations, runners.
Go!
Lesson 2.
Go!
Lesson 2. Nature of the game. Softball is played between 2 teams or a large field. Lesson 2. Nature of the game. Softball is played between 2 teams on a large field with 9 players from one team in the field at a time.
Go.
Lesson 2. In nature of the game, softball is played between two teams on a large field, with 9 players from one team in the field at a time. The field is usually composed of a dirt or gray grass and field, which contains the quadrilateral shape and running areas in a grass outfield. However, the field also can consist of older grass, artificial turf, or in areas such as New York City asphalt. There are 4 bases on the infield: the first base, second base, and home plate. The bases are arranged in a square and are typically 45 to 65 feet or 13.7 to 19.8 meters apart. Near the center of this square is the pitcher circle, and within the circle is the rubber, a small flat rectangular piece of rubber about a foot and a half in length. The rubber can be 40 or 43 feet away from home plate, depending on the edge level and also the really one is playing edge. The object of the game is to score more runs or points than the other team by batting or hitting a ball and to play and run around the bases, touching each one in succession. The ball is a pair of light material covered with leather or synthetic material. It is 10 to 12 inches or rarely 16 inches or 28 to 30.5 centimeters in circumference. The game is officiated by one or more neutral umpires. Players and umpires are generally free to ask for a brief stoppage at any time when the ball is not in play or immediately following a play once its outcome is known. The game is played in a series of innings, usually 7. Some play with a time limit around 150 minutes. Youth leagues sometimes have 6 innings. An inning is one series of both teams playing offense and defense. Each inning is divided into a top half and a bottom half, indicating which team is playing the role. The offense bats and attempts to score runs, while the defense occupies the field and attempts to record outs in a variety of ways. After the defense records 3 outs, the half inning is over and the team switch roles. To start play, the offense sends a batter to home plate. The batting order must be fixed at the start of the game and players may not bat out of the turn. The defense pitchers stands atop the rubber and throws the ball towards home plate using an underhanded motion. The batter attempts to hit the pitch ball with a bat, a long round, smooth stick made of wood, metal, or composite. A pitch must fly over plate within an area known as the strike zone, which is the area between this and the logo, the strike out zone therefore.
Offensive strategy is fairly straightforward, revolving around hitting the ball to let the batter reach base safely and to advance the base runner toward home plate to score run. Defensive strategy can be more complex, with particular situations, calling for different position and practical decision making. For both sides, there can be a trade-off between out and run. The offensive can be sacrifice a batter to advance runner, while the defense may allow a runner to score. If the remaining runner can be put out in a double play. Gameplay, the playing field is divided into priority and foul priority. Fair priority further divided into the infield in the outfield, in the theory beyond the outfield, pins on softball diamond of the 68 base and they are more common in women softball than in men, the double base and required NISP championship. The outfield consists of the diamond and adjacent space in which the infielder normally play. The outfield in the remaining space between the baseline and between the outfield page and the infield. The infield is usual skin dirt while the outfield has grass and regulation competition. Near the center of the diamond is the pitching plate in fast pitch and skin circle 16 feet 4.88 meters in diameter. Know as the pitching circle is around the pitching plate.
A field is officially supposed to have a warning track between 15 and 12 feet 5 and 4 meters from the outfield field. However, if the game is being played on field larger than required, the warning track is required before the temporary outfield fence. Located in full territory outside both baselines are two coach boxes. Each box is behind the line 15 feet 5 meters long, located 12 feet 3 meters from each baseline. Lesson 3. Recent developments. In 1951, the International Softball Federation began governing all softball competitions throughout the world. The first women's fast-pitch world championships were held in Australia in 1965. The men's championships were held a year later. Since 1970, the World Championships have been played every 4 years. It can be considered that softball reached the peak of its popularity in 1996, when it became an Olympic medal event, although the International Olympic Committee decided to drop the game from the 2012 Summer Olympic Games in 2005 meeting. The sport remains popular, particularly in the United States. Softball's popularity can be credited to its appeal to players of different ages who play in particular age groups, and you can expect to see maintain its mass appeal for the years to come. Not bad for a sport that began as an impromptu game using a bronze stick handle and a boxing glove, and not bad for a game that was once called ball, names such as kitten ball, cabbage ball, and cabbage.
Chapter 2. Preparing your body for softball. The problem is that in softball, we also really extensively on the track in the upper body to throw, catch, and hit. So, you definitely need to warm up the upper body as well, and most dynamic warm-ups fail to properly do so. According to Makina 2005, the team strength and conditioning coach, this recent success and could not have been achieved without staying healthy and flexible. Softball is about anticipating the next play, and sometimes athletes don't make an exclusive reaction to the ball for 2 or more innings. McKeown says, therefore, we incorporate quad and hamstring flexibility into our warm-ups so to the athletes stay healthy and avoid potential knee injuries. Progression warm-up. Set wrist, 30 seconds. Heel to hammy walking. Grab right ankle with right hand and pull up. While left leg support you, rise onto ball of foot, hold for 2 seconds, moving forward, release right leg and perform on opposite leg. Skip. Same movements as above but perform skipping. Instead of grabbing ankle, just bring it up hand to ankle. Run. Same movements as above but perform running. Do not use hand at all. Benefit. Stretching the quad reduces forward pulling, force on your shin and time boom. Coaching point. Keep your hips square over the ground and make sure your knee stays directly under your feet. Knee to chest walk. As you begin walking, bring right knee to chest and touch heel to hamstring. While left leg supports you, rise on the ball and foot hold for 2 seconds.
Perform an opposite leg as you move into continuous fashion. Skip. Same movement as above, but perform skipping instead of walking. Hold will be quicker. Run. Same movements as above, but perform running. Benefit. You overemphasize the range of motion for movements you typically perform in games and practices like walking or running. Coaching point. Keep your foot, torso flexed while you focus on stretching your glute. Number 3. Toy shoulder walking. As you begin, walking fully extends the right leg with slight angle towards opposite hand. Extend opposite arm and touch toes. Bring leg down on continuous motion and perform with opposite leg. Skipping. Same movement as above, but perform skipping instead of walking. Running. Fully extend leg and kick directly forward. Keep ankle loaded so that when foot strikes, your reaction time is quicker. Perform as many reps as possible of 10 yards. Benefit. Warms up your glutes and hamstring. Coaching point. To get a better range of motion, rise onto the ball of the foot of your supporting leg. Also, your kicking leg should have a little crossover so that you can touch your toes with your opposite hand. Make sure you don't do this in running form, however. Lesson 2. Stretching for softball. Stretching should be done slowly without bouncing. Stretch to wall you feel as light if you stretch. Hold this feeling for 5 to 30 seconds. As you hold the stretch, the feeling of tension should diminish if it doesn't just ease off slightly into a more comfortable stretch. The easy stretch reduces tension and stretches the tissues for the developing stretch. Number 1. Neck and back. Stand about 12 to 20 feet away from a wall of fence with your back to it and slightly bend one half with your feet about shoulder width apart and toes pointed straight ahead. Slowly turn your upper body around until you literally stretch along spine and back. Standing with knees slightly bent, place palms on lower back just above hips, fingers pointing downward. Gently push your palms forward to create an extension in the lower back. Hold on comfortable pressure for 10 to 12 seconds. Interface your fingers behind your head and rest your arm on the mat or floor. Using the power of your arms, slowly brings your head, neck, and shoulders forward until you feel a slight stretch. Shoulder wide pitch. From the bent knee position, pull your shoulder blades together to create tension in the upper back area. As you do this, your chest should move upward. Legs and hips to stretch your off. Stand a little ways from a solid support and lean on it with your forearm arms. Your hand focusing on your hand. Bend one leg and place your foot on the ground and foot front of your knee, the other leg straight behind you. Slowly move. And your hips forward. Do not be bound. Straight your legs, then straight your sole and actually stand on. As shown and the drawing, move one leg forward under the knee of the forward leg is directly over the ankle your other knee of the floor of the forward foot. Lower the front of your hip downward to create an easy straight. This straight should be felt in the front of the hip and possibly in your hamstring and groin. This will help relieve the tension in the lower back. Hold the straight for 20 to 20 seconds. Put the sole of the feet together with heels in a comfortable distance from the groin. Place your hand
feet and slowly pull yourself forward until you feel an easy stretch in the groin. Make your movement forward by bending from the hips and not from shoulder. If possible, keep your elbow on the outside of your lower legs for greater stability. During the stretch, hold a comfortable stretch for 30 to 40 seconds. Sit with your right leg. Straight bend your leg across your left foot over the rest of the outside of your right knee. Bend your right elbow and rest into the outside of your upper left thigh above the knee during the stretch. Use the elbow to keep these legs stationary with controlled pressure to the inside. Now, with your left hand resting behind you, slowly turn your head to look over your left shoulder and at the same time, turn your upper body. Take to turning your hips and on the same direction. Throughout your hips won't be moved because your right elbow is keeping the legs stationary. This stretches your lower back and side of the head. Hold for 6 seconds. Do not both sides. Don't hold your breath easily. From a sitting position, straighten your right leg. The sole of your left foot will be resting next to the inside of your straightened leg. Legs slightly forward from the hips and straight and hamstring of your right legs. Find the edge stretch and relax. Keep your right foot upright with an ankle and toes relaxed. Sit with your feet a comfortable distance apart to straighten the inside of your upper legs. And hips slowly lean forward from the hips because be sure to keep your quadrats relaxed and feet upright. Hold for 30 seconds. Keep your hand out in front of your for balance and stability of hold onto sometimes for greater control. Straight your left hamstring and the right side of your back slowly bend forward from the hips forward of your left legs. Hold 30 seconds to each side. With arms overhead, hold the elbow of one arm with the hand of the overarm, keeping knees slightly bent 1 inch. Gently pull your elbow behind your hand as you bend your hips to the side. Hold an easy stretch for 10 seconds. Stretch both sides. Inside in a sitting or standing position, extended your arms and your over your head with the palms of your head. Turn to the outside of touching each other as in drawing above. Extend your arm up to back. Hold this to stretch for 10 to 20 seconds. Hold your left arm just above the elbow with your right hand. Now gently pull your left elbow forward to position right. Shoulder as you look over the left shoulder. Hold straight for 15 to 20 seconds. With your feet shoulder width apart and pointed out to down 150 angle, heels on the ground, bend your knees and squat down. Hold the straight for 30 seconds. Be careful if you have had any problem. If pain is present, discontinue the strength. Variation. Also do the strength with your arm length at approximately a 90% angle. This will help further prepare the shoulder and arm for the movement required in softball. Place both hands and shoulder both width apart and sometimes above shoulder height and let your upper body down as you keep your knees slightly bent one inch. Find a streak that you can hold for at least 30 seconds. To straight upper the hamstring and hip hold on the outside of your ankle, the one hand with your other hand forearm around your bent knee. Hold for 15-30 seconds. Lay on your left side and rest the side of your head and the palm of your left hand. With your right hand, hold the top of your right and foot between the toes and ankle joint. Hold an easy stretch for 10 seconds. Arm and shoulder. Shoulders shrug. Raise the top of your shoulder towards your ears until you feel slight tension in your neck and shoulder. Hold these feelings of tension for 3 to 5 seconds. Then relax your shoulder. Tension in shoulder and neck area. To strip the right side of your knee and top of shoulder knee, you had hip sideways toward your left shoulder as your left hand pulls your right. Arms down and upwards behind your back. Hold an easy stretch for 10 seconds to each side. With fingers interface behind your back, slowly turn your elbow inward. While straightening your arms and extend straight for shoulder and arms. This good to do when you find yourself slumping forward from the shoulder. This straighten can be done at any time. Hold on 5 to 15 seconds, do twice.
Chapter 3 Basic Skills and Drills in Softball. Throwing is the most important basic skills required of a good defensive player. The ability to throw accurately and quickly will make it hard for the opposition. The scoring advanced runner, having accurate throwing technique will allow you to hit your targets with greater consistency. 3 types of throwing. Overhead refers to the full arm motion of hip and shoulder. Half turn and king rest action to release the ball. It is the basic skills to outfield and field play. The women's fast pitch softball league of 1991 to play in Summer Olympics in 1996 for the first time. This was the first time in the history of softball that there was an introduction of softball technology, which was founded by Ken C, giving away the landmark for the biomechanical study on the pitch during the softball games. Unfortunately, in the year 2002, the 16 inches ball was struck out of the ISF official rules. Although it is still very much played in the United States under ASA. Despite of the fact that in 2005, baseball and softball both were rising from Olympic still, the craze of these sports can be very well seen in the United States. Efforts are being put in order to bring back the pride of both the games and Olympics. Hope to see the softball as a part of Olympics soon. History and development of softball. The birth of softball took place on a cold, windy November day in 1887. Some Yale and Harvard alumni had gathered at the Farragut Boat Club, anxiously awaiting the results of the Harvard-Yale football game.
When the score was revealed, Yale defeating Harvard 17-8, a Yale alum picked up an old boxing glove and threw it across the room in celebration. A nervy Harvard supporter who was standing nearly tired to hit it back with his stick, George Hancock, a reporter for the Chicago Board of the Trade, witnessed the event and had an epiphany. He thought why not playing in indoor vision of baseball with a glove and a stick. He organized the alums from both schools in the farm of both clubs drew a home plate on the floor with some chalk and the two turns play what is considered to be the first softball game in history.
Facilities and equipment in softball. Official equipment. Playing softball is a good way to get exercise and have fun at the same time. You can play on a school team, in an amateur league, or casually with a group of friends. You'll need some basic equipment to play softball properly. If you are playing in a team, make sure it is certified. Regulation softball equipment. Official equipment is considered to be equipment such as bats, gloves, helmets, etc. and current use by the defensive or offensive team in a course of play. Defensive equipment, or the gloves, left on the field by team playing offense would not be considered as official equipment. Softball field dimensions. The softball diamond is closely related to the baseball diamond, which is one of the oldest and most complex pieces of geometric symmetry in all of sports. Of course, not every field is constructed exactly the same. Fields all across the world differ in terms of distances of baselines, outfield fences, and the pitching. In the official rules of the International Softball Federation, the maximum outfield distance is stated to be 250 feet. Interestingly, this maximum is shared by both men and women. The variations in the distances are purely team specific. While men's field tend to be deeper, youth leagues and collegiate teams often have smaller outfields. These dimensions can also vary depending on the league. The following are taken from the official International Softball Federation rules, but apply universally to nearly every full-size field in the world. Home plate area. The plate is a white rubber pentagon with one side measuring 17 inches in length from the base to the point. Two sides measures 8.5 inches in length and two sides measure 12 inches length. The 12 inches sides form a point and face directly away from the pitcher's run. The batter's boxes. Both right-hand and left-hand boxes measures 3 feet in width and 3 feet in length. Each box is 6 inches away from home plate. Position so the midpoint corresponds to the midpoint of plate. Catcher's box. The catcher's box measures 10 feet in length from the back of home plate and 8.5 feet in width. Then pitcher's mound area. Pitcher's rubber. The rubber is a white slab measuring 24 inches by 6 inches. The pitcher rubber should be level with the drum. Pitcher's circle. The pitcher's circle should be a measure of an 8 feet radius around pitcher's rubber. baselines. First base. First base is a safety base or double base. It is the length of two bases, 15 inches wide and 30 inches long. The safety base is positioned across the first base line so that half of the base lies in shared territory and the other half lies in the foul territory. The half that is in fair territory is painted white and the half that is in the foul territory is painted orange. Second and third base. Second and third base are white, measure 15 square inches and 3 to 5 inches thick. Third base is positioned entirely in fair territory. Second base lies up squarely with first base and third base, so that the fair bases from a perfect 60-foot square. Distance from home plate to first base is 60 feet. Distance from first base to second base is also 60 feet. Distance from second base to third base is also 60 feet. Distance from third base to home plate is as well as 60 feet. Weight of each baseline is 3 feet. Other dimensions. Infield size. From the third base goal line to the first base goal line. The back edge of the infield dirt is 60 feet from the picture rubber at all points. A radius, if you will. Coach box. The coach box is 15 feet in length and 3 feet in width. Its position to the back of the lines up evenly with the line from the second base to third base, and from second base to first base, each box is 8 feet from the goal lines. Distance from home plate to the pitcher mound is 43 feet. Distance from first base to third base across the diamond is 84 feet, 10 and 1/4 inches. Distance from home plate to second base across the diamond is 84 feet and 10 and 1/4 inches. Distance from home plate to the backstop, not mandatory, is 25 to 30 feet. Softball and bats. The ball. The officials rules, the softball shall have a center court and made of materials approved by the ISF Equipment Standard Commission. It may be wood with yarn covered with latex or rubber cement and have a cover of tan, horse hide or cow hide. Synthetic materials or a material approved by the ISF Equipment Standard Commission. The ball must weigh between 6 and 1/4 and 7 ounces, and its circumference must be between 11.78 and 12 and 1/8 inches. The bat. As stated in the rules, the bat shall be a smooth, round stick not more than 2 and 1/4 inches in diameter. At the thickest part, no more than 34 inches in length or with more than 38 ounces. These rules are being amended at many levels of softball to allow the use of metal, graphite, carbon, fiberglass, or other materials approved by the ISF Equipment Standard Commission. Variation of field dimension. It must be noted that many league and organizations throughout the world use variation of the above dimension and standard for different levels of softball.
Distance from home plate to the pitcher mood. Human fast pitch is SH and college is 43 feet. Human fast pitch 18 and under 40 feet. Human fast pitch 10 and under is 35 feet. Men's fast pitch is 18 and under 46 feet. Men's fast pitch 12 and under 40 feet. Men's fast pitch 10 and under 35 feet. Men's human and slow pitch is 50 feet. Distance for base paths and outfield fences tend to vary as well. Human fast pitch fences are set an average of 220 feet from home plate, and men's fast pitch extend to 250 feet. Slow pitch fences are typically between 275 feet and 300 feet in distance depending on the type of league and age group. Most players begin playing permanently on the special full-size field around the time they start high school. Whenever, in many instances, fields do not subscribe exactly to the above dimension, usually due to lack of space or resources. In-field dimension vary depending on location and governing body, but all are designed to retain or closely mimic the proportion of the official dimension.
Chapter 5. The game. There are 9 players of football team. The playing field is divided into the infield and outfield. The line between the base are 60 apart when joined. They form a diamond. Inside the baseline is known as the infield. Outside the baseline, but inside the playing field is called the outfield. Any ball going outside the first or third baseline is a foul ball. Runner cannot advance in the bigger gate another try, unless the ball was caught in the air, which translates to an out. Unofficial game is 7 inning. An inning is when both teams have an their turn to bat. Pitching. The pitcher must have both feet on pitcher rubber and can only take one step forward while pitching. The ball must be thrown underhand. Both hands must be on the ball at the start of the pitch. Batting. Batter must follow the same order throughout the whole game. The batter is out if a win. Base running. Running most touches base in order. Runner may over first base only on other base. The runner will be tagged and called out if they are off the base. Runner cannot let off a base. They must be on base until the ball in play. The pitcher in hand. After a fly ball had been caught, the base runner must tag occupy base before advancing to the next base. One base runner cannot pass another base runner that ahead is of them. Stealing a base is not permitted. A runner is out of it. They are tagged with the ball before reaching a base. The ball gets to one base before the runner. They run more than 3 feet out of the baseline to avoid being tagged. Third, ball are legally pitches. Ball that doesn't not enter the strike zone. Grounder, a ball that is a hit on the ground, force out. With the runner runs to advance to the next base to make room for the following base runner. Fly ball, ball rate up in the air to the infield. On base, the next batter, pop up, ball rate up in the air to the infield. Strike, produce with a ball, is swung at a base or is called with the ball in the strike zone. It is not swung at the ball. Strike zone. The ball pass the batter over the plate between third base and miss. Played in the game. A softball game generally in the 10 players. In a match, however, someone third. We all have 8 to 9 players. Also, the playing ground is divided into sections. The infield and the outfield. There are the base on the infield at the edge of this. Base, there is a base defender at the home plate in catcher is the place in the pitcher is a pitcher runner. This is the kind of sit up of the infield. Left fielder, center fielder, right center fielder, and right fielder are involved in the outfield. The softball is a 7 inning game, and the time frame is about pitching. The pitcher runner at the infield is required to be staged on by both the pitch of the pitcher according to the softball pitching instruction. While pitching, only one step is allowed to be taken in the forward direction, as the vision above the ball in pitches understand. Instead of overhand, when the pitcher is about to make the pitch, he has to ensure the both his hands are on the ball. Batting. The batting role have to be developed by the batter throughout the game. The rule see that the batter is allowed to strike until the gate called out. The batter is also called out to if a fly ball is called in if the batter doesn't is not stand. In the batter box once the game has started, the bats used by the batter are mostly made of aluminum or composite. A approved list is available with its softball net. One of the important softball regulations is that the bat have to be close monitored by most softball governing association. The umpire also need to take the bat legally. Basic rule and regulation for baselining and scoring. When moving forward through the base, runner moves touch and base is ordered until the ball has been hit by a subsequent leader base. Runner cannot lead or a base of ball allow the batter to only run past the first base, not the second and third one. If the ball hit by the batter has been caught in mid-air, the base runner needs to tag the occupant base before proceeding to the next base. According to the rules and regulations of softball, one base runner cannot overtake another base. Although stealing from one base to another base.
Fast pitch of softball rules. As the name suggests, in a fast pitch softball game, you can expect a faster pitch than normal. Generally, the pitch goes up to speed at 260 to 70 miles per hour, where the playing field has similar dimensions with 200 feet maintained between the home plate and their center field wall. Helmet mask and throat protector are a must players in fast pitch softball game. Stealing bases is also permitted in this type of game. Slow pitch softball throws. Here the pitchers are required to earn the ball while pitching. The field used in slow pitch softball game is larger than that of the fast pitch game. Slow pitch game does not allow foul balls to be counted as strikes. If there are already two strikes on the batter, this is one of the softball rules that are already two strikes are the batter. This is one of the softball rules that are similar to baseball rules. Slow pitch softball games are preferred by most amateur players as the ball is easier to hit than a fast pitch game. The above mentioned softball regulation and rules have been presented in a simplified version. However, it may feel different while actually playing on that field. Even if the rules remain the same, a practical hands-on experiencing the field provides a real taste of getting acquainted with the rules of the been set up to the game. Ang ang fast pitch softball rules ang ay isang summer Olympic sport at nilalaro ng profesional. At ang slow pitch softball ay karaniwang nilalaro ng libangan lamang o mga pambabaeng laro. The ASA rules of softball will govern play with the following exceptions. Games will be 7 innings, each with 60-minute time limit. A new inning will not begin after the time limit. The home team will always receive their last licks, even the time limit is reached, in the event of tie game. International tiebreaker will be used. The international tiebreaker consists of each team getting 3 outs but runner starting the inning on second base. 18-run mercy rule with affecting the 5th inning, and the umpire will strike that there are no walks. All pitching must be slow pitch, modified, slingshot, windmill, and high are prohibited. No stealing, leading, or bunting. There is no sliding allowed. Anyone who is slide in the wrist will automatically called out. A player is not allowed to dive into a base to avoid a tag. Teams will play with 8 men in the field, and a team may bat as many different batters as they like. 3 substitutions are allowed throughout the game. The batting order may not change with the substitution. For example, if a player comes late, he must be placed at the end of the batting order, not interrupting the already establishing lineup. No French runners are not allowed. And sa ASA rules naman ay may 7 innings tayo. 7 innings at 60 minute ang limit natin. After the game, ang buong team ay magbibigay ng huling last licks. At yan po yung sa ating sa ASA rules. Ground rules. A ground rules as any ball hit over the barrier or court pipe is a home run. Any ball that rolls beyond or skips over the barrier is a ground roll double. If a ball is misplayed, causing it to go beyond the barrier, the ball is still alive. The ball becomes dead if it rolls into unplayed situation at the judgment of the umpire. Any ball that hits the blue of the bubble or anywhere of the light poles fixtures in fair territory must be played as live ball situation. Any ball that hits in the white of a bubble, including foul territory, will play a ball as a fly ball that can be caught on for an out. Runners advance at their own licks. Softball is a game that many have played on a grade school at recreation level. However, it is also a very popular women's competitive sport played at the high school, college, professional level. Competitive softball has many rules designated to keep the players safe and the competition fair. Field to play. The distance from the pitcher's mound to home plate in a competitive softball is 43 feet. It is 60 feet from home plate to first base, which is also distance between first and second system and third and home. While fences are not required in competitive softball, the minimum distance between home plate and the fence should be 220 feet. As an orange safety base shall be placed next to first base. This prevent collisions between the first baseman and the runner. The first baseman makes the play standing on the original base, while the runner will run over the orange safety base. And field of play. Field of play is the distance from the pitcher's mound to home plate in competitive softball is 43 feet. It is 60 feet from the plate to first base, which is also the distance between first and second and third. The player lineup and positions. Player lineup positions in competitive softball. A team may play with 10 fielders and defense. In addition, a designated hitter man be used for one of the fielders. The, ex, the extra fielders is usually put in the outfield, and most teams tend to use four fielders across the outfield to man their defense. However, if a coach may be used the extra fielder should certain or an extra infielder. The designated hitter does not have to bat for this pitcher, as the case the baseball, the designated hitter can bat for any position. Player the coach chooses designated hitter not have to be used if its coach does not want to take the option. And that's all for fast pitch rules and slow pitch rules, and the ASA rules of softball will govern play without following exceptions. Ground rules, field of play, player lineup, and position.